Hello, this is Lisa LeRose here on Connect to Love on PRNFM, and I'm joined by the amazing and wonderful Michael J. Russ, who always inspires me to want to be a better person. And I re-listened to a few things that Michael and I had done on a show not that long ago, and it just, Michael, I just have to tell you, your words touch my heart each week in more ways than you can even imagine. And I just hope and pray that our audience also finds value in what it is that we have to share, because there is so much, so many treasures to be found along the way. So welcome, Michael. I want to just say thank you. I wanted to make sure that I acknowledge that.
You are always full of such beautiful words yourself, and yes, you've been inspiring me for a long time. And I, you know, it's just if I can encourage our listeners to do one thing, it's to seek out at least one relationship like what we have, where we support each other, we're not judgmental, we discuss things, because everybody really needs somebody that who they trust and admire, and who they know is non-judgmental and unconditional, that they can bounce something off of. You know, we bounce ideas all the time. That's one of the things. I just did a podcast about that, where you talk about your intentions, goals, and dreams, and it's always wonderful. And again, it kind of ties in with our current topic that we want to talk about today, which is self-discovery. We learn about life by exposing ourselves to experiences, to saying yes, to jumping outside of our comfort zone and getting to know something new, getting to know somebody new, trying something not trying, but attempting to do things that we otherwise wouldn't do. However, we say, you know what, I'm gonna give this a shot. And you can say, yeah, I did it. I liked it. I didn't like it. Here's what I liked about it. Here's what I didn't like. Here's how it made me feel. I'll tell you a little story about that kind of sets this whole thing up. We were in the Philippines when I was 9. I was 9 years old, and my mother was driving me from somewhere. I think I went to the commissary, the post exchange, to get food with her and stuff, and supplies. And we were coming back, and I spotted in the field. I spotted next to the football stadium, because it was Clark Air Base, and there were literally thousands of people, and there was an actual mini football league. The various branches of the military, Army, and Air Force, and the like. Because there were different areas of it that had football teams, and they used to play football. They had a little football league. It was great. But I saw these youth with blue jeans and black shoes and white T-shirts, and they were marching. They were marching, like drill sergeant kind of marching, and they were singing, and they were singing in cadence and doing this stuff. And I drove by, and this is the musician and Mr. Creative and all of that kind of stuff. And I looked at my mother and I said, "Hey, I want to go try that." And she turned around and looked at me. She said, "What? You want to try that? Something that is organized and disciplined?" "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah, I want to do that." It scared the heck out of me when I said it. After I said it, however, I did, and I joined. I went and got the blue jeans and the black dress shoes and the white socks and the T-shirt that matched everybody, and I went out there and I did it. It was so much fun. It was so much fun marching in cadence and doing these drills like you do if you're in basic training, And it was really a neat experience. And to this day I remember everything about it, every nuance of it, and how confident I felt in actually doing something that involved some discipline and having to be coordinated with other people, sort of a team kind of thing. And we actually did this. We drilled, and there was a purpose behind what we did. We drilled during the halftime of the football games.
Awesome.
So we got a chance to actually perform. This is another way of performing. and showing our stuff, and it was appreciated, and I had a great time doing it. I told him,
I'd love to see some photos.
Oh, I don't think we have any.
Your mom has,
I don't think my dad took any Super 8 movie film of that back in the 60s. This was 1960. Oh my gosh, 1968. It was 68, 1968, 69. Yeah, 1968.
Wow.
Sometime in that year. Yeah, really, really kind of interesting. Back then, all we had was Super 8 movie film.
That's super fun, though.
It was.
And it's so interesting because you're so in tune with what I was thinking about this morning, and it has to do with music and that connection and how music moves our soul. And over the weekend, I went to see a young man who he goes by Dixon's Violin. And what's so interesting about Dixon is not unlike what we're speaking about. He was, as a young man, he studied classical violin, but had to get a real job, quote unquote real job, and so he got into the tech industry. He did software coding and all kinds of stuff, and he became kind of like the guru in his field, and people looked to him because he was so good at what he did. And he said he ended up going to a festival where he looked around and everybody was having more fun in his life than him. And he said, you know what? It was a rude awakening because he thought to himself, what is it that I'm doing wrong? What is it that I want to do? And so he thought, what I loved doing was playing the violin. And he said, most people said, well, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to make any money at it. There's no way you can you're going to need a band behind you to even think about becoming famous or whatnot. And he basically followed his passion. And he did a TED Talk about creating a song that didn't exist before. And that's what he does at the beginning of every performance. He literally writes a song and performs it on stage live, but it never existed. And he said he doesn't know what's going to come out. And it's amazing and it's beautiful, and it's really the epitome of what it means to take a chance and really follow your what it is you want to do. And it was so interesting, Michael, because you had mentioned at the end of last week's show on vulnerability that you wanted to explore self-discovery, self-exploration, and that was exactly what he started speaking about in between each one of his sets. And I spoke with him after, and I asked him if he'd like to come on the show, and he said absolutely. So we're going to try to arrange that between, because there, I actually filmed a couple things. I'll post some of the clips of his wisdom. But it makes you wonder. You have to ask yourself, what would happen if you gave yourself permission to go after your dreams and desires? What do you want to be? What do you want to be? Where do you want? And I think that in this world, we sometimes limit ourselves because you expect either whether you go to college or you graduate high school, you go to a trade school, this is what you're going to be. And you look for a job in that field, and that's what's expected. And, years ago, people stayed in the same job many, many years. They retired with their pension, and it was very unheard of that anybody would think about leaving their company. It sort of became like a company man or woman, and you stayed there until you were ready to retire. So, I think that, we have the opportunity to shift our perspectives and really ask ourselves, and that's what the deep exploration of self-discovery is all about. What do you want to be when you grow up? Michael, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Wow. I am actually, interestingly enough, by at least where I am right now at 64 plus, I am very clear on the fact that a lot of what I do is being, and what I have done over the past 38 years or so, is just being of service to people. And it's not necessarily because I convey a product or service. It's really about I've come to understand it's really about helping other people trust and themselves, have confidence in themselves and their decisions, and helping them helping alleviate stress in people's lives. And that's what my other, position, my main career is about. And the writing of books, the creation of note cards and journals over the years, and everything that surrounds this other life I have away outside of that, is really also about being of service to people, showing people that they can express the creativity, that everybody has the opportunity, has some sort of gift that, or one or two or three that they have that they are very good at. And I'm certain that the gentleman that you're talking about, that you described in the beginning of this program, it had a sort of he has a gift to play the violin. Maybe it was a gift that he didn't realize at the time. And it is interesting how what markers we, can I say, not markers necessarily, but we go through life, and then we get a sort of a ricochet off an experience where it shifts our thinking completely, and it's somebody you meet perhaps, or this particular gentleman went and discovered other people who were much more creative and having much more fun in life and have much more life satisfaction and fulfillment than he was having. And he asked himself, what was he doing wrong? I wrote that down because I specifically wanted to state that there is really nothing wrong, and nobody ever does anything wrong. Nobody ever makes a bad decision.
Absolutely.
Nobody ever fails. Nobody ever does anything that they shouldn't be doing. Whatever you're doing, you're going to pick up something from that is just part of who you are. And to judge it as something, a waste of time, or beat yourself up because you wasted time, or to beat yourself up because it didn't work out, all of that is completely and totally counterproductive. And it never keeps you moving forward. It has you mired in, it has the past written all over it. It has the past, which you're supposed to forget. Learn from it, and then just move on. Learn from it what you can that can help you move forward, and then move forward. Keep moving forward. And I love what he did. I love what he did. But that's been the recipe of self-discovery for me, is to keep moving forward. And if you're scared to death, get more information, seek more enlightenment, and get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And pay attention to how you feel, because how you feel is a litmus test for everything, whether you're doing the right thing for you and not somebody else. And even though I know in the beginning of my career I was scared to death every morning for about a year and a half. I woke up and my stomach was turning, and until I figured out how to reconcile what I was doing. Because I'd had this thought virus that salespeople are bad, or whatever you have that. As a matter of fact, I just had that with a talk with somebody a couple of weeks ago, where they had a thought virus that being a salesperson is bad. Somebody respected, I think it was a parent or something, said, don't be a salesperson. Salespeople are crooks. They're thieves. And this person it was a barrier to success for this particular individual who had such an amazing personality, such an amazing attitude about themselves and about life. Yet this thought virus was hanging on and dictating how she felt. And it's really amazing that this is what we do. We let these little things prevent us from fully discovering who we are. We allow other people to dictate that path for us, to dictate how we feel about moving forward. And the realization that exists in itself is freeing. It's something that can free you to move forward. And I'm sure that the people in his industry or people closest to him, the gentleman who was in computers and a guru in computers and then shifted to the violin, I'm sure when he actually decided to make that change, or when he was thinking about making the change, I'm sure, like you just said, people said, oh, you'll never do that, and you'll never be successful at that, and you'll never make any money at that. Those are just thought viruses, other people's thought viruses that they want to keep supplanting in you to keep you down. And they're really based on not you, but them.
Mm-hmm.
They're based
Absolutely.
on their foibles, their mistakes, their experiences, their failings themselves that they're continuing to hang on to, that they want to supplant in someone else. And this is, unfortunately, what people that we love and respect do is, basically handicap us. That's what it happens. They handicap you from fully discovering who you are and what you're capable of.
Oh, it's interesting because you are so in tune. I wonder if you have a hidden camera at my house. I have my dogs have their own little space and they watch movies all the time. And so this week's movie that plays over and over and over again on the TV for them when I'm not there is Meet the Robinsons by Walt. It's a Disney movie and it's a cartoon. And it was based on a book by William Joyce, and it's all about a family who literally did their own thing, and there was no judgment. They were such an off the wall, eclectic family, and it was embraced in that movie. But the message in the movie is all about keep moving forward. And you see these banners come out to go, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. That was the motto of the the hero of the story. As when you get to be an adult, keep moving forward. And it was based on Walt Disney. He said we keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps us leading down new paths. And I think that that's exactly what you're saying. You have that curiosity. We think about when we are, we've talked about it before, we come into this world without an instruction manual. We forgot to bring that instruction book that when we came. And so we kind of have to go back to that curiosity. What is leading us? What do we look inside of ourselves? What moves us? What inspires us? And I think, it was Lao Tzu that said at the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are and you know what you want. And so many of us, I think, we look for approval. And that goes back to embracing our vulnerability, not looking for that approval to, try something new, the fear of being embarrassed. Well, am I going to fail at this? When we try something, I'll try something and, I remember when we moved to Indianapolis, we moved around a lot, and my mother wanted me to get involved in the community, and so I joined Girl Guides and 4-H. Now, I hadn't grown up in a 4-H kind of a family, and so we had to pick a couple, to pick some things that you're good at, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know, so I did drawing, I went to and did ceramics, and then I did baking. And I did this little ceramic line, which I still have, and I got a blue ribbon for that. And I don't remember what I got for my drawing, but I made a banana nut, like a pound cake kind of a thing, and it was horrible. I think I overstirred it.
So you really weren't the baker then.
Whatever it was. Yeah, no, so I didn't get any ribbons for my baking ability. But, I never let it dissuade me. I like to bake. I actually like to bake more than other things. I try to shy away from pie crusts or things that, I end up tending to knead the dough too much or whatever else it is. I don't know. Maybe it's my enthusiasm for I need to make sure all the ingredients
adrenaline. Complete adrenaline. Coming right through your hands, just kneading the heck out of the dough.
Yeah, I could, we had to, of the banana nut loaf that I made, we had to make a couple of them, and I tested my own, and I thought, this is pretty bad. I mean, it wasn't toxic or anything. But it was pretty bad. But it didn't dissuade me. Did I want to do that for a profession? No, it wasn't anything. But I still enjoy making some cookies every now and then, or I always like to make a homemade cake for birthdays. There seems to me, I'm not a fancy decorator,
really?
But the love that you put into it, I think, is worthwhile, and I think people can taste that. I love making icing and experimenting with, real buttercream icing and different ways you can, decorate different things. But
I love it. I love it.
So is there something like that with you, Michael, that, I know you didn't have much opportunity to participate in 4-H, but, was there something else that you enjoyed?
4-H came later in life. I clean horse stalls every morning now for the last year and a half. So yeah, my 4-H, my 4-H came a little bit later in life than most people. I was on the receiving end of the downside of 4-H. But anyway, I it's funny. I stand there in the stall cleaning, and I tell my girlfriend, "Hey, I love you, don't you?" It's just fun because I'm sitting there and I'm just filling a bucket and taking that bucket out and dumping it in the big bin and filling another bucket. And I'm like, I just love this. It's, again, that sense of completion. I could say that, let's see. I'm fulfilling, for me, what I love is, I don't know if you're familiar with this, with a band Poco, P-O-C-O, Poco. It was a band from the 80s. Right, it was a band from the 80s. And as I've probably talked about ad nauseum on the show, when I get the opportunity to go play with someone live, to sit in with them, I enjoy the heck out of it. And I challenge myself to succeed. And I bring all my focus and attention and skills to bear, my listening skills, my intuition, musical intuition. I bring it all to bear in one moment in time, all at the same time. And I always get through and I always succeed. So there was a guy I knew. He said, I got a party going on, birthday party. Come down to, I guess it was Boca Raton at this particular resort. And he had Poco, his friends. Poco came up from the players, and Poco, the main leader of the band, and the players came up from Key West. And they were playing at his birthday party. And he goes, "Hey, Michael." He goes, "Hey, Michael's a drummer. Sit in. And can you sit in?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, come on." And I'm like saying to myself, I am at that point in time, I am tempting to scour my mind for a Poco song. I had no idea. I could not remember anything I'd ever heard. I heard the name Poco, but what was their hit? What did they do? So I sat down with them, and I sat down behind the drums, and I told the bass player, I said, "Look, all I need to know is beat, give me the time, give me the style, and I'll take it from there. And I'm going to feel my way through this because I have no idea what you guys are doing." And he goes, "Okay, sure." So he gave me the tempo and the style of music. And I listened, and I let my intuition take over. And I played, I think, 4 songs with him. And still couldn't recognize any of them after I'd played them. And while I was playing them, I don't know. I just listened to, I was watching the bass player. I was listening to the cadence. I was doing all this stuff. Like I said, all this, I've been doing this so long that I bring everything to bear in that very, very quick instant. And when we get done, the leader of the band comes over and he goes, "Hey," he said, "that was amazing." He said, "If you're in Key West, come and play with us." And I said, "Awesome, I'll make that happen." I'm like, yeah, but it's nice to get that kind of compliment from people. And I know most people who would say, "Oh, I don't know anything about them. I don't know what I would do." And yeah, I'm like, "Hey, I don't care. I'm a rhythm section. I'm a walking rhythm section." So I'm there. And even if I don't know, I'll know we'll find something. I'm playing James Brown with some guys in Brazil at a resort at a particular. It was a resort that had 5 hotels, and they had a shopping town center. It was called a town center. And there was a big stage in the town center, and a band would play there every evening. And this guy was playing this music, and it was funk. And I said, "Oh my gosh, it was good. It was my style of music." And I walked up during a break and I said, "Hey, I'm from so and so. Can I sit in with you?" The guy goes, "Absolutely. Give me 2 songs going into the next set and come in." And I played like 5 songs with him. And turns out the guy he's a guitar player who was from L.A. And he was there teaching music to students. And I said, "This is awesome." It's the aspect of self-discovery that I really love is actually putting yourself in a position where you have to rely on your own skill set, your own abilities, and you have to dig down deep to focus and make something happen. To me, I just get off on that. It's really wonderful to actually do that. And I know I talk about golf a lot, but basically when I go play a golf course I've never played before, I have to do that very same thing. There's no familiarity with anything. You're just walking into a blank slate, and you have to create something from nothing because you have no idea what it is that you're facing. And you do it shot by shot, hole by hole. And I've shot some of my best scores on courses I don't know because I'm even more focused, because I can't take for granted that I've played the course many times before. And, I was here, I've been here before, I've been there before, I've been this, and I know what the screen looks like, and I know what this looks like, that looks like. And my father taught us to play golf back when I was 8 years old in the Philippines. Yeah, he every Saturday, the whole family would go out to the golf course in the afternoon and play. So
your mom played as well?
Mom played, Dad played. My brother, who did play, will never admit it. He'll never admit that he played, although I wish I had the club that he used to use.
Sorry. That's funny.
My brother's the consummate, I'm an actor, I'm a musician, and he still plays every Saturday in L.A. at with this place called the Kibitz Room. He plays a 45-minute set with some other people, a blues set. And he's got a band that basically travels wherever there's a sci-fi convention. They always invite him to bring his band along, as well as, he talks and stuff like that on stage about what he did or, with the other people. But it's always a lot of fun to not only – and when I'm there, I don't necessarily play with him anymore. However, sometimes I get up and I'll back up sing, which is really kind of fun. When he goes to a convention and I'm there, I'll go up on stage and sing backup, do some backup vocals for him, some harmonies and things, because we used to do that a lot. However, I know most people who, if that's part of their self-discovery, being in front of people, will shy away from it because they are afraid that they will be ridiculed, or they'll do something wrong, or that. And what I tell them is, nobody will ever notice. No one ever notices. If I'm off a beat or off something or I miss something, nobody notices. Only me. We are our own worst enemy when it comes to that sort of thing. We know we made the mistake. We're the ones who have to cop to it, be responsible for it. However, nobody ever notices. They're too caught up in the macro picture to look at the micro, which is what you're focused on. Right. And by the way, I took home ec when I was 12. I took home economics. I was the only guy in the high school in Turkey that took home economics, because I told my mother, I said, I want to be, I don't even think I used the word self-reliant at the time. I just said I want to take care of myself. I want to know how to take care of myself. And that meant I needed to know nuances of cooking and sewing. And, I could sew a button on, I could darn socks, I can do whatever I need to do. Sew up some pants. I can use a sewing machine. I had a business that involved using a sewing machine for about 3 years. I can use a sewing machine. I can make stuff. I can create a pattern and make some things, but I'm not making clothes, and I'm not being a tailor. However, I've made pillows and other things of that nature. It's just, it's just something that I did for a while. I loved it, and it was fun being creative, waking up in the middle of the night with an idea, not jotting it down, and then in the morning when I woke up, going and creating it. That's how creative I was. It very much like you making your pottery. I'm sure.
Well, do you think? I think probably too, when you're doing something like that, you almost go into a meditative state, and that allows you for more in-depth exploration. And I am not a golfer. I know enough to be dangerous. I've walked the greens with different people, so you can correct me in my analogy. But I was thinking when you were speaking, Michael, about how golf is really, it's like a perfect metaphor for self-discovery, because you have this wide open expanse, and every course is different, just like each one of our lives is different. And as you're walking through this expanse with this little ball, which maybe we could call that your idea or your little discovery, it's like, where are you going to hit it? Where are you going to direct it? Is it going to, go down the fairway and end up in the sand trap, or, is it going to hit, the green? And how many tries is it going to take you to get it into the cup, right? I mean, it's just just like such a perfect analogy for life. And, and I'd love to hear you sort of expand on that a little bit. But, I was sort of thinking to myself, if each week, there's 52 weeks in a year, we gave ourselves a question or something to ponder about self-discovery. And I think that's what's so fascinating about self-discovery is it's really never ending. We're never going to, I hope anyway, at least for me, that I never come to the end of that journey. And for you, I mean, even if it's the same course you play, the actual same golf course, you're never playing the same game twice.
No. Matter of fact, no, you never play any hole on a golf course out of 18. You never play it the same way twice. You wish you could repeat all of the successes that you have, and you will on occasion. However, all bets are off as to what's going to happen when you get up there, set up, and actually execute your swing. It is so beautiful that golf is an absolute metaphor for self-discovery and for life itself. And as any sport where you're playing not so much against yourself, but you're playing with yourself. That's what you do in golf. It's not somebody else you're playing against. Of course, you can play a game and you can bet or you can make wagers. You can do whatever you want to do. You can talk smoke or smack or whatever you want to do to other people and just have fun at it. However, in the end, really, golf is a very revealing sport. It reveals character. It reveals how you feel about yourself. It reveals how you feel about others. It reveals how responsible you are, how accountable you are. It makes you accept the choices that you've made. It's only you against you. So basically, if things don't go well, you can't blame anything, although everybody wants to blame everything, the club, the ball, the course, other people talking or making jokes or whatever during what you need to do. I mean, literally you can blame a whole lot of things. However, the focus state that you're talking about is the same. The focus state I have when I play music or when I'm speaking in front of an audience or anything else that I'm doing that requires me to be there, be present, be in the moment, and project it, take action, so to speak. It requires that on the golf course. I just bring it there as well. It's true. And I think it's important for us to put ourselves in a situation where that focus state is necessary, where you have to bring to bear all of your talents and gifts, your thoughts, your feelings, your inner conversations, and your responses to what's going on around you. All of that in one place, in one moment, doing something. And that's what I love about the game. And it's interesting because I've been prodded for several years. I wrote a golf book back in 1998, an audio book that people, who they hear it, they love it, because it has nothing to do with the nuance of your swing or how you hit the ball or any of that other stuff. It's all the 5 inches between your ears. That's where the game is really played. And just like life is played in the 5 inches between your ears. What you think of yourself matters. It matters when it comes to you trying something new. What you think of what it is you're going to do. Yourself in relationship to the world around you matters. It means something. There's energy from it. The frequency that you create through that thought process is is the most valuable thing, most important thing in my view about life. And what we don't have to be golfers. Not everybody's good at golf. By the way, the number one reason people quit golf is because they cannot accept themselves. That's the number one reason people leave golf. They are unable to accept themselves. And their expectations are way out of alignment with what their abilities are. And golf is a game where you have to, just like life, you have to accept the limits of your abilities. Not everybody's going to be Kobe Bryant when they play basketball, or whoever, Wilt Chamberlain back in the day, or any of today's stars. Not everybody's going to be the best baseball player. Not everybody's going to be anything. There's a pyramid of things. The point is to, and reaching the pinnacle of any sport or anything that you actually do, there's only a few people that are at the top. They have a very special skill. However, that doesn't mean that you can't be good at what you do. You can't enjoy. It's all about enjoying what you do. Mm-hmm. It's all about enjoying it, taking a positive attitude, accountability, all the little things in life that you have to do in order to keep your frequencies high, not blaming yourself or someone else, not making yourself a victim of whatever happened. It's really interesting how people, when they're in the process of self-discovery, are so, or can be so hard on themselves. Mm-hmm. Hard on themselves. Like, it took somebody 15, 20 years to get to a point that you think you can get to in 2. Not going to happen. You can, if you take 20 years and you put in all the focus, and something that I learned long ago it was a little term called TNT. T, the letter T, and the letter T. Time and talent. Time and talent. Mm-hmm. It takes time and talent to actually be good, really, really good at something. However, you cannot follow all the rules and still be good at something if you put in the time and you have a modest amount of talent. That was Arnold Palmer. Arnold Palmer, world famous golfer, had one of the ugliest swings that you've ever seen.
I never knew that.
For a professional golfer. Oh yeah, Arnold Palmer had an ugly swing. However, he had time and talent. He grew up on a golf course, being, taking care of it. His life is really, really interesting, very unique. A poor farm boy who basically went to the highest heights, and he was able to, he practiced enough to make the little ball do what he wanted it to do his way. And that's all that counted. Even Tiger Woods would say, it doesn't matter what kind of swing you have. It matters whether the club is square at impact or not. You could dance around like Elvis as long, but if that club is square at impact, you're going to put the ball where you want it to go. It may look weird. People may laugh at you, Mm-hmm. However, you'll be laughing all the way to the bank, and they'll be like, what in the world just happened? But that's just the way it is. I've seen drummers that look professional, and I've seen drummers that didn't look professional that made the same noise, that created the same music. It doesn't really matter. What matters is whether you're willing to take the self-discovery to the nth degree, so to speak. That's really what counts. And you have to. Good.
No, I was going to say, do you think some of that has to do with belief in yourself as well? Meaning that,
absolutely.
Even though you have it doesn't, maybe Arnold Palmer didn't realize he had a horrible looking swing. Did he know that? I'm just curious. Or
he knew his swing. Yeah, he knew his swing was unconventional. I'm not going to say
unconventional.
Basically, I think the basketball player Charles Barkley has the worst swing ever. I think of any golfer in the world, he's probably got the worst swing I've ever seen, anybody's ever seen. And he always gets laughed at, and he always just takes it in stride and just has fun with it because he's already reached the pinnacle of the basketball world. And he wants to be a good golfer. But yeah, self-belief is big. It's huge. It doesn't matter what you do. Just waking up in the morning, you've got to believe in yourself. Whatever you decide to do in life, the best. If you're a carpenter, believe that you're the best carpenter and work at it, and bring your focus and attention and creativity to bear to be the best. It doesn't really matter what you do. If you want to be the best babysitter in the world, you can be the best babysitter. You can be the best parent. You can be the best anybody if you decide that's what you want to do, and you bring your belief to bear. I've seen people who have a ton of self-belief, not a lot of skill, but a ton of self-belief that have gone farther than people who have no belief and all the talent. It makes the difference. It totally does make a huge difference. And the question is, okay, how do I get the belief? How do I go from not believing in myself to believing in myself? I get this question all the time. It's a function of you going back and assessing.
Self-discovery.
Yes. There you go. It's self-discovery.
Right?
It is so true. You've got to go back and say, why do I feel this way about myself? What is it that someone said? What experiences have I had that have convinced me that I can't do something? And it could be something completely unrelated. Because we do things, as a child, we're curious and we try things. And then parents tell us, no, you'll never be good at that. They shut us down. And we have to, in our lives, maintain that curiosity forever. Because it gets shut down when we get into the rigid, systematic school system and we get into learning and moving forward. My number one pet peeve is that when I grew up, and I'm sure when you grew up, we had in high school you had wood shop and sheet metal, you had auto shop, you had all these different modalities that you could skill type classes that you could go into. And I went to wood shop and I made my mother a napkin holder, and I didn't go to auto shop because I really wasn't interested in fixing automobiles, but there were people who were really interested in that and went and learned and became very good at it. And back in those days, you could work on your own car because it wasn't so computerized. So there was a whole world that opens up to you when you discover that you're good with your hands, that you can throw a pot on a wheel, and you're like, wow, all of these little things. When you start discovering, here's about self-belief. When you give yourself the ability to go to try things, when you go and try this and you go to try that, just because you want to see what it's like, and you discover that you can actually do something, that's one of the building blocks of self-belief that you can then transfer to other things. It's sort of like I can sit down and I can throw a pot. I think you'll be able to tell somebody how challenging that is. Right? Tell somebody how challenging it is to throw a pot. It is so challenging. You've got to have focus and attention. You've got to bring all of your absolute focus to bear. You've got to have hands that work together, that are steady, and your eyesight. Everything comes together. Everything's coordinated in order to make a pot that's actually straight. Otherwise, in a heartbeat that it all goes awry. So, by the way, one of the things I really want to do in life is sculpt with my hands, because I'm very good with my hands. I just haven't had that opportunity as of yet to either take a piece of clay or take a piece of soft sandstone or something and make something with some tools or with my fingers or whatever. It's just, to me, it's just so exciting to do that. So, good. Self-belief.
I was blessed with two wonderful friends who moved to Pittsburgh for a short time. They had studied pottery in Japan, and they would invite me over to their house, and I would watch them, and they were like, here, have some clay. And they showed me how to work it, and I thought, well, I can't do this. I don't know what this is. And they said, just play with it. Ask the clay what it wants to become. And and I have this little line that as I would start to play, and I think, this goes here and this goes here, and I just sort of felt like this is when it was done. And I think that's a really great metaphor, the clay, because it's something that comes alive, and there is no right or wrong. And I think that's in life we get so kind of pigeonholed into that. I had a good friend that he was a X Games bicyclist. He was a trick bike rider.
Wow, really?
That's
awesome.
And he, he was known as the Canadian Beast, and Jay was amazing at the things that he could do. He rode for Schwinn, and here in Pennsylvania they have a camp that they come and they inspire young kids and they teach them and train them and whatnot. So that's sort of how I got to know Jay. But later on in life, it's a tough sport. How many broken bones he had on his body over the course of his career was you can't even count. And but now he is a woodworker. He makes the most fantastic furniture, and it's sort of the same thing. He looks at this piece of wood and what does it want to become? And I think that it's, whatever it is when you wake up in the morning, so you ask yourself, what would it look like for you if you asked yourself, whether you were a piece of wood or a piece of clay or whatever, what, if you accepted exactly where you are, what would you become? What do I want to become? And then if you don't achieve that in a day or a week or a year, forgive yourself and allow yourself to, keep moving forward. Right?
Right. Exactly. You accept you accept where you are and seek guidance internally or divinely, spiritually, however it's the case, to be in a way just to a lot of it's about intuiting, and that's really what you're doing, and that's one of the most amazing things that I think is amazing. It's that when you actually hold that clay in your hand and you intuit something, out of it. We aren't taught to get our intuition rolling, to move forward in life and think from intuition, inspiration, those little aha moments. We're not taught to embrace them. We're not taught to look for them, let alone do anything else. We kind of cubbyholed into a certain way of thinking. However, the most important thing in my view in life is to understand what is going on in your mind when you're actually looking at something. When I talk on stage or when I do an unscripted podcast, and basically when I do these podcasts, a lot of what we're talking about, what I'm saying at least, is coming from something greater than me. It has to do with me. I'm back remembering things, and I'm intuiting how this conversation comes together at the same time I'm having the conversation. And it's a skill that I believe I've developed over time, and through doing something else, I guess, do my other main career when I have conversations with people over the phone, and I can put those types of things together. We all have different skills, and we all have different focuses at any given time, and we just have to go through that process of self-discovery. If we give ourselves the outlet, the opening to be able to do that, I think it's wonderful that you go from BMX biking to and doing tricks and things, something you've reached the pinnacle of, to woodworking. There's a lot of similarity there. He had to intuit the tricks. He's intuiting all those tricks. That's what they do. They intuit unique tricks that actually get their name put on them because they've intuited something really spectacular, right? And so he's discovered that he's also very good with his hands, and he gave himself the opportunity to follow through with that, to pursue it. And I'm sure he's bringing to bear the same intuition, the same creativity and inspiration that he actually used when he was a BMX champion. I mean, the X Games champion. That's just amazing to me. Not unusual for people, but again, it's just giving yourself that opportunity, being receptive, I guess is the word, that alchemy word, receptivity, being receptive and open to finding out instead of shutting yourself down. Finding out, trying things. What's interesting is it's kind of, I tell a story of my sister sometimes, who was a office. She was a branch manager for Brook Furniture Rental in Long Beach. Actually, it was Orange County. And she was one of those, she ran an office, managed an office of like 7 people. But she had a marketing degree. She was unhappy with doing that. Between the owner of the company and they thought that her creative talents were not being used and applied the way that they could. My brother and I will always be creative individuals, the musicians, the singers, and the like. And my sister played piano. She had piano lessons longer than any of us. Even I had piano lessons. My girlfriend kind of laughs at now. I had piano lessons at the same time I was having drum lessons. I just decided that drums were more fun. And I went that direction. For sure. I had talent there. I don't know what I was doing with the piano. I could play it, but no, it's not for me. And we find that out, through getting some lessons and finding some things. But my sister went from nothing of not being able to sing to, this was like 30 years ago. She went from that to today being an award-winning creator of early childhood education CDs, music, basically music. She's a member of the Grammy Society. She goes out and she talks all over the country to early childhood education teachers and administrators, and she does the most amazingly creative talks and presentations for them. And she's created tons of music, not only in English but Spanish, because she's married to a Mexican man. Her kids came up sort of bilingual, and raised 2 amazingly self-actualized kids, because she was always trying out her early childhood education stuff on her kids when they were 4 and 5 years old. She said, "I've got kids. I'm going home. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to make this a success." And she does. She does very, very well. Now she comes to me. She says, "I want to reinvent myself." And I'm going, "You go for it. What is it that you want to do? Whatever you want to do, you do it. I want to reinvent myself. I don't want to go out and talk anymore. I want to do whatever." And she's like in the process of reinventing. I think it's her 4th act. I call them acts. Life is a play, and we have different acts in life. We have an early childhood act, then you go to a college act, and then you go to a job, that's act 3, and then you have that job for whatever it is, and then you decide, okay, I'm writing a new act for myself. I'm moving forward, and I'm attempting something completely different than what I've done before. And I got to tell you something that I wrote in this podcast, because this is so important. And I can't tell you where I got this from. I can't remember the person's name. However, it was one of the most amazing things I've ever heard when it comes to your own dreams, goals, and the like. And the guy said, look, it's almost impossible to make any satisfactory progress around skeptics. You got to choose your friends carefully and hang out with people who currently have some of what you want to achieve presently, right? And his whole point, it was a hymn. I'm sorry, I couldn't come up with it. I couldn't search it and find it, but I heard this years ago. That we are all super subjective. Our subjective mind is really open to suggestion, which is why thought viruses are so incredibly powerful. When someone that you love and respect says, "Oh, that'll never work," and you decide to, because you love and respect them, you take that thought virus and it just stops you in your tracks. If you're an inventor or you've created something and you want to move something forward, it really, you never know what it is that you could have done with it had you simply kept your idea or your dream or goal to yourself. It's important not to the other most important thing this person said was don't tell others what your process of achievement is, how you're going to actually make it happen. And I'm talking basically not about physical but mental. Don't share that with anybody. People think, I do a lot of different things, from meditation to speaking with my higher self, to connecting with my higher self, to connecting with my angels and seeking guidance, all that kind of stuff. I don't even talk about that. Of course, I'm talking about it on the radio now to everybody. However, the people closest to me have no clue that that's what I do. I don't tell them my methods. I don't share my methods of how I stay positive in the other ways other than what I share in my books and other things, because that's something that I've developed that's personal to me, And I encourage everybody to open the door to their higher self, sit down, meditate, connect, pay attention to what you see as serendipity. And you perceive as serendipity or coincidence or an accident. Oh, wow, this happened? Really? I just thought about that 10 minutes ago. Well, that's no accident. That's no coincidence. And when you start perceiving the things that happen in your life in that fashion, more things like that will occur. Our biggest detriment is that we are not open to our own intuition. We're taught that our intuition is bad. That if it's not this, if it's not empirically arrived at, then guess what? It's not as valid as something that you empirically arrive at. And that is a shame, because when we were kids, we didn't care. We were curious. We were inspired to just go do and be, and that was it. And that's how you have fun.
Yep. Well, and you think about it, Michael, when you're a teenager, you know it all. You know it all. And somewhere along the way, people chip away at that. I mean, I'm not saying to be a know-it-all, but I think that we all came equipped with that sense of intuition. It's an internal monitoring system that connects us to the divine, whatever you want to call it, the big real, whatever it is. You don't have to be spiritual, religious, or otherwise, but you came imprinted with a consciousness to create, and we can create constantly. It doesn't have to be perfect. Each one of us, we put the pieces together, no matter what it is. We find, harmony, balance, whatever it is that makes our soul sing, whatever is that soul's intention it is to have that experience. We learn, whatever it is we're meant to learn that day. Failure, success, laughter, compassion, kindness, as we have talked about before. We all want to be able to co-create with our universal consciousness and to really fulfill what it is that we came here to do on that journey of self-discovery. And that's, what I so, appreciate about you, and the fact that you absolutely, utilize that key, you utilize all of the tools that are before you. And I think sort of that's part of the purpose here on Connect to Love, and we're so grateful, to Jesse at PRN-FM to give us this forum to share what it is that we've learned, our mistakes along the way, whether it be a nut loaf or whatever, that there is opportunities in whatever capacity and whatever areas that you have a passion for, and we're so grateful for that. And we'd love to hear your comments. We've got the Connect to Love energy at Instagram, so if you want to direct message us, if there's a topic that moves you and inspires you. Again, self-discovery is a big topic, and we're going to have some people on that have sort of shared their path, and I hope that you enjoy that. And Michael, I'd love to hear what your last thoughts are on self-discovery and how it impacts your life and as well as others.
Well, thank you. I in my view, I'll say this again, there is nothing wrong that you can do. We have to be open to new things, because that's how we intuit where we go from here in life. Things come to us, and we have to make a choice to go one way or one direction or another. There is no wrong path. It's just something that you do, and give yourself the opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone and to be comfortable with something that you're initially uncomfortable with. You'll find that as you gain more knowledge, more enlightenment about it, and meet other people, relationally connect with people that are associated with it, that if you had any inkling, any inclination whatsoever to move in that direction, that it was the right thing to do at the time for you. So trust yourself.
Awesome.